So, yes. So before we begin Chapter 4, which is called The Chapter That Could Occur When Sans Offers You a Special 2-for-1 Discount, KoboldKing did receive your comments that were part of the previous recording. And
Is he starting to write a story about saving Asriel now?
Well,
I can't wait to see this thing.
Yes, he did send you a picture, which I will pull
wow,
up.
that means he must be really impressed. Why are you
Yes,
laughing?
he was very impressed with your comments.
I'm sure he was.
Impressed enough to offer a reaction. So you can come over here and see his.
Oh dear. We better get more save Asriel.
Yes, I think
We need lots of save Asriel.
See, this represents the story up here.
Yes.
Simple Chara Frisk relationship story, and this is you.
Yeah, well,
So,
I believe.
yes.
Oh yeah, there's only 3 birds. That's
so
cool. I mean,
he's
it's 3
just
babies.
representing
Anyway.
the volume of our comments?
Yes,
Apparently.
so, and the
He did
yes,
not
the
say it that he would
incessant nature
not
of
do
them.
it.
I think he pretty much did. So, yes, I'm afraid you're just going to have to deal
We're
with
gonna need a save Asriel story.
Sorry, not here.
Yes, here.
Not now.
Yes, now.
Probably never.
Hey.
All right. That's
No.
Yep. Sorry.
Asriel needs to be saved.
Well, you may just have to find someone else to
Save
do it.
Asriel.
All right, go away. Back to the place where you go where I read stories.
Sure. It's over here.
All right.
But you still need to save Asriel.
So, yes, I know. Yes, I know that is. Yes, you do appear to have a one-track mind on that.
I often have a one-track mind.
I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that there's no saving Asriel in this story. And, in fact, in none of KoboldKing's stories
Then he better
do I
write
believe.
one.
That may not be a particular interest or theme. So, you'll just have to enjoy the worms that are brought to you by the mother bird as they are. Including the chapter that could occur when Sans offers you a special 2-for-1 discount. And, in fact, will occur now.
Wow.
In many ways, it was like their first day back from the dead. The world was wide open in front of them. They could go anywhere in town. They could hit up any of Frisk's friends. They could read any book, watch any show, buy any toy, walk, run, swim, leap, talk, scream, cry into their hands. They were free. They could do anything. They spent much of it doing nothing.
Wow, that's great.
They had plans to see Asgore later in the day, yes, but there was plenty of time in a day. An almost frighteningly large amount of time for someone who hadn't consciously moved their body in over 100 years. They decided not to push themselves too much. They just went for a stroll. There were no threatening rain clouds dotting the sky today, and the temperature was perfect for just enjoying the fresh air. They took their sweet time enjoying the sun and the breeze and the feel of dry leaves they picked up off the ground. They had felt it all before, but not against their skin personally in so long. Doing nothing felt like everything. After some time spent walking, their phone buzzed. They whipped it out of their pocket to find a text message from Jenny asking if they'd like to meet up at the usual place. They hesitated. "I told her that I had other plans today," Frisk said reproachfully. "Guess she was hoping that you'd change your mind." Chara remained staring down at the screen, feeling uncertain. "What do I do?" Just tell her you can't make it." "Are you sure?" "Huh? Of course I'm sure. Why wouldn't I be?" "You're bored." "Oh, you could tell?" "I can always tell." They stared down at the phone. "I guess we could swap and let you hang out for a bit." "No," Frisk said firmly. "Nuh-uh. This is my day." "Yes, I get it," Chara interrupted. "But that doesn't mean we can't still compromise. This whole mess started when we both wanted our way without being willing to give." They scuffed their shoe awkwardly against the ground as they continued, almost bashfully. "Besides, it's not fun steering with an unhappy passenger." Frisk was silent. Technically, this whole conversation had been silent, but they didn't speak in their head either. When they spoke again, it was more resolute. Tell her that we'll hang out tomorrow. Yes, I'm sure, they said. And your part of the compromise is that you've got to walk us over to the lake so we can skip rocks. We'll take turns. You throw one, and then I'll throw one. That way we're doing nothing, but we're doing it together. There was that warm feeling again. What a dorky way to spend a day, Chara said. You're not saying no? Because it sounds nice, they said sheepishly. It was completely unfair that talking to the voice in their head could fill their stomach with butterflies. Then do we have a treaty, Your Highness? Not royalty, but yes, we have a deal. Jenny seemed disappointed, but accepted their decline. The two fused humans made their way down to the lake and spent quite a while down there, just enjoying the feel of the sunlight and the breeze and the sounds of birds and splashing rocks. Yeah.
That's
All right.
an unusual name.
Yes. Let's give it a different name, shall we? Frisk was by far the more talented rock skipper out of the two of them. This had apparently been one of their favorite pastimes when they used to sneak out and spend as much time away from their home as humanly possible. Chara's life on the surface had had significantly less freedom. They'd never really gotten the chance to do childish things before they fell into the underground, and there weren't many good rock skipping places if you didn't want to make the trip to Waterfall. It felt good to try out the game, though, especially as Frisk was more than willing to teach them a thing or two about finding optimally shaped rocks. It really was doing nothing but together, and Chara enjoyed every second that it was just the two of them. Well, just the two of them and Sans. He was a few meters down the bank, passed out asleep, with a fishing pole lying on the ground beside him and a floppy sun hat on his skull. His snores did nothing to disrupt the teenagers, who spent the next few hours skipping stones and laughing out loud at the jokes being told in their head. Being alive was pretty great. After a while, they lay there in the grass a little ways from the bank, having exhausted most of their supply of small, smooth rocks. It didn't really matter. They had had a blast, and now it felt relaxing just to sit here watching the ripples recede to the far shores of the lake. Though relaxing, Frisk was realizing, felt very different from the inside. They felt comfy on the grass, rolling dandelion leaves between their fingers, but it wasn't really them. They could simply feel their body making small decisions, such as what interesting texture to reach for next, or at exactly what moment to breathe in or breathe out. They had no conscious control over any of it. It wasn't unpleasant, but they wouldn't want to live their entire life with their body on autopilot. That brought with it those uncomfortably guilty feelings. After all, this was exactly how Chara had been living for the past 2 years. Was it any wonder their already bossy personality had gotten a bit insufferable from time to time? It was like watching someone over their shoulder while they played a game, wanting to tell them every path to take or item to pick up, but 1,000,000 times worse. Anyone would become a control freak about it eventually. It took actually living to actually want to take it slow, to stop and smell the flowers, to treat life more like, well, life, and not a game with an end goal that you had to beat. There was no final boss. Hey, where did Sans go? Chara asked. They sat up, slightly disorienting Frisk in the process, looking over at an empty lawn chair by the lake's edge. Probably on a break, Frisk offered, before a nice smell started wafting down from uphill. Hey, what's that? Kind of smells like fish. Top tier narration there, Frisk. It probably is fish.
Sans just like, wait,
They both became aware of their stomachs growling abruptly. How long has it been since breakfast? Chara groaned. We should go eat.
Definitely, Frisk agreed.
Then let's go, Chara said with a hint of impatience. Come on. They blinked. Wait, that's not right. I'm steering. Acquiring lunch, then, is my responsibility. They laughed a little awkwardly. Sorry, a force of habit. A very, very bad habit.
That's fine, I understand.
Frisk meant it. They did understand a lot better than they had before.
But hey, you're in charge. Take us out to eat.
Don't make it weird.
How is it weird? You're just taking your very special partner out to lunch.
Chara's cheeks heated up as they gave only a flustered huff in response, making their way towards food with the sound of Frisk's internal laughter. Frisk couldn't see their face, but they still thought Chara was pretty cute when they got like this. Chara molded their face back into their usual polite smile as they approached the food. They never really felt right without it. Unsurprisingly, Sans had set up a food stand on top of the hill. A sign was advertising fish tacos, spelled out in entirely lower case. It was unclear whether this was actually any easier than writing it the normal way. Well, if it isn't my favorite customer, Sans said, greeting them with a lazy half-wave. And with a smile that goes on for miles. Feeling in high spirits today, kiddo? Chara felt slightly awkward, their pasted-on smile taking on a somewhat more guarded role than usual. They liked Sans, just like Frisk and practically everyone else did. It was just those eyes of his. They always felt like they were digging a little deeper than his grin would suggest. Yes, they replied finally, a little nervous. It's just one of those days that makes me feel happy to be alive. Don't I know the feeling? He closed his eyes for a moment, but swiftly plopped a large, somewhat greasy paper bag down on the table. But since I got this all-new, all-smiles edition of Frisk here anyway, could I interest them in some fresh fish tacos? They were really biting today. Chara looked skeptically at the bag. They hadn't really thought he had caught anything down there by the lake. I never saw you as the fisherman sort. Are you kidding? I'm a natural at sitting around and doing nothing all day. They noticed a small wastebasket beside his stand that appeared to be full of crumpled-up receipts from a local seafood joint.
That sounds great.
Sans was smiling as though they were invisible. Only 20 G apiece, he went on, leaning back in his chair while somehow again closing his eye sockets. Each one restores 15 HP, raises your def by 1 for a whole turn, and replenishes vitamin D. That last one's actually not a stat, but you'll probably die without it. Human bodies are funny that way. Chara laughed awkwardly, scratching their head. Your call, Frisk. Do we eat second-hand fish sold by a sketchy skeleton in a park? Somehow Frisk managed to convey the entire energy of an indifferent shrug without even having a body. Whatever. You know I'll eat just about anything that's not oatmeal. That I do. The memory of spider donut after greasy spider donut made them shudder. I suppose we'll go for it. I've had worse stomach aches than any fish is going to cause. They forked over 20 G and had the bag slid over to them, which they opened with a growing hunger. Something was slightly out of place on the inside. Hold on, they said. You put an extra one here and by mistake. Mistake? Or happy accident? Sans gave them a conspiratorial wink. Consider it a special 2-for-1 discount. Share it with someone special, even if that person is you. I won't judge.
Yeah, Santa knows things.
Thank you, Sans. No problem. Just take care of yourself, kiddo. They took the bag and left, feeling, as usual, confused, but somewhat amused by the skeleton's antics. There were days when they really wanted to wipe that knowing smile off of his face, but on days like this, it was almost kind of reassuring. If he was inclined to smile and joke with them, then they couldn't be doing that bad of a job at being Frisk.
Definitely.
The two of them found a nice place to sit and started to dig in, pleasantly finding that the tacos didn't taste anything like food poisoning. Chara ate ravenously.
Poisoning tastes like.
I suppose you'd
I
know it
guess-
if you tasted it. You'd probably get the fish taco twice. Chara ate ravenously, half out of regular hunger and half out of the pleasure of actually eating again. They had done the same thing with the quiche this morning. It was so good to be actually in charge of moving the food to their mouth again, not feeling like a spoon-fed baby while waiting for Frisk to transport the food. "Did you forget how to eat? Or are you always this messy?" Frisk asked idly. "Toriel may have gotten onto me more than once for bad eating habits," Chara admitted, just barely preventing themselves from wiping their mouth on the sleeve of Frisk's shirt. "Does it bother you?" "No, it's just a little funny. Sometimes you're all polite and stuck up. Other times you're eating messy and talking about Butts pie. It always surprises me." "That's me, Chara Dreamer, full of surprises." They ate in silence for a while. It'd be impolite to talk to the voice in one's head with one's mouth full, after all.
Definitely, totally. That sounds not bad at all.
Yeah, that's good to be polite.
Sure.
They crunched down on lunch, scattering enough crumbs to attract the attention of eager-looking pigeons. "This is nice," they said, finishing off the last of their food. They licked the grease off their fingers a little too noisily to avoid Frisk's amused internal giggling. They decided to let it slide. "I think I see why you take your time so much." "Mm-hmm," Frisk replied philosophically. "It's nice just to stop and smell the flowers sometimes, you know." "I had forgotten. Day's a lot more pleasant when they're not being rushed." They hesitated, hunching their shoulders as an awkward guilt settled over them yet again. No matter where they went or what they did, that feeling was never far behind. "I am truly sorry that I've made so many days miserable for you. That was never my intent." "Come on, Chara, don't be like that. You've only made a few days miserable." They laughed, but grew awkward themselves when they realized that Chara wasn't. Really? I mean, sure, we get on each other's nerves, but I'm always glad I got to spend the day with you. It's nice to share the flowers, you know? Especially with you." Hot cheeks again. Chara pondered this for a while before nodding thoughtfully. "Yes, I think I see what you mean." They gauged the sunlight they had left, taking a wild guess at the time before remembering that they had a phone that displayed it in numbers. Technology sure was nice. They checked the time and realized it had gotten later in the afternoon than they had assumed. "Not to start rushing things again," they said, "but we should get moving if we're going to spend any time with Asgore today. Our little intermission is over." "You're the boss." "Incorrect. He is the boss monster. I am a human ghost." "Oh, ha ha. Technically that's incorrect because I'm the ghost today. You're a human person." "Perhaps." They smiled at Frisk's exuberance, but a part of them was still hesitant. Talking to Toriel had been hard. Would talking to him be any easier? It had always been before, but... Chara took a deep breath before nodding firmly. "Let's go."
That's the end?
Why, yes.
What's the next chapter
What
called?
is the next chapter?
The next chapter is called Your Father.
Great.
Hmm.
Time is it?
Yeah, Sam
What time is
definitely didn't have any idea.
It's
that
8:35.
there could possibly be two people in one body.
Nah, he's just joking around like he does.
What is that?
What is what?
That.
This computer?
No,
It is a
the-
device that allows me to read
Why is there
stories.
three
And to
columns?
compute.
Oh, it's just the way I'm reading it.
Oh.
3 columns for convenience.
Great.
Your columns on what?
Anyway, so Sam sits there with a fishing pole sleeping, and then
Yep.
buys food at the store, sets up a whole food stand,
Yep.
and sells.
Sells tacos.
That's
Yeah.
That's
That's
definitely how you do it.
that is definitely a Sans way of doing things.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, is Azrael in this story?
Wait,
I know.
I have a question.
Yes,
Why would you get a bunch of receipts when you could just buy all the fish at once? Why buy like?
He's probably buying individual tacos
Oh,
Oh, he's just buying the tacos.
Great.
and then reselling them at the stand. Sure.
Silly.
Great.
It is what now, Catherine?
It would sure be nice if Azrael was in this story. I think you would find the Chara and Frisk thing to be quite,
Quite a thing.
yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe so, but Azrael is dead.
Yeah,
Dead,
well,
dead, dead.
Well,
Well-
Chara was dead too, and
And,
Azrael at least is alive and flowy.
Well, I
I think if
think
Chara was-
Azrael is just about as dead as possible in this story.
Then there better be a sequel.
It's called, yes, Azrael is still dead, too.
that's a bad name. Where's number one?
Well, it's You Too is the name of this one. And it'll be, it's not Azrael, too. All right, don't make KoboldKing make more memes.
Let me ask you very
no,
politely.
Daddy. This one is called "It's
Why
You
don't
Too,"
you like
and the
Azrael?
and the next one is called "Azrael's Dead Too."
Mm-hmm.
Well, the third one's called Azrael's actually alive. Ha 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 ha. You got tricked.
Okay, compromise. What if
Wow.
what if Chara and Frisk just, what did you say?
The chapter title? I mean, story title?
Yes.
It's like, Azrael's actually alive. Ha 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 ha. You got tricked.
Well,
What
I'm
if
suppose
Chara
you could
and
write that
Frisk-
story. Hey, you've never written an Azrael saved
Yeah,
story.
you just write everyone dying and then determination.
Yeah, that's right. You've,
There are
you've
stories-
killed more people than KoboldKing at this point. I think you have no moral ground whatsoever to be demanding Azrael being
multiple
saved.
stories. I have Azrael being saved, don't I? The gift. That's where Kara appears and gives her soul to Azrael.
Oh, yes.
Aha,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Plus, there may or may not be stories in the
Kara
works
just
or in my
magically
head
appears. That's
that
not how
could have
logic.
Azrael being saved.
Kara doesn't just magically appear. That's not how logic.
Yeah, but we are
Too
definitely
bad
in
I'm not
post-pacifist.
Azrael's usually saved.
Kara,
post-pacifist.
Frisk, comboed.
Yeah, so
And,
why don't they go back to Mount Ebott and see Flowey?
I mean, they could bring him fish tacos, but that's about it. It's not like they've got a magic re-goater machine.
Not doing it.
Maybe
All
they
right,
can-
so the comment you want me to pass on to KoboldKing is that
Just
Azrael
have Azrael
deserves
some
fish
form,
tacos,
Sure.
and that he could have used that
but it's-
extra fish taco and given it to Flowey.
Sure.
Got it. I'll pass that on.
Ask him if at least if his Flowey post-pacifist, they
Yeah.
Frisk mentioned how they saved Azrael. So is his Flowey post-pacifist a saved Flowey? A
Well,
Flowey that can feel, a Flowey that is not the same as the Flowey before, a
um,
Flowey that remembers.
I don't know. I would guess. I don't know.
Well,
It could be a Flowey that just, Azrael reverts back to Flowey, and the usual assumption is that
I
he
just got the
reverts back to Flowey's nature as well.
I just got the
Maybe
best
slightly
idea.
less murdery, but
I just got the best idea, Debbie.
oh, the best idea.
So
Oh,
not
do tell.
the best, but maybe, but
Like one of the top three.
Probably.
yeah, probably.
Okay,
but
great. Let's hear it.
so basically, if at the end of Undertale, Flowey's kind of like a saved Flowey, or kind of,
Okay.
and so that means he can feel love and compassion and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what monster souls are made out of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh
So what
huh.
would
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
saved him again, which
Oh.
would turn him into Azrael, but since he could feel as Flowey, he'd kind of have part of a soul.
He
so
can
he could be
generate a
Azrael.
soul or something.
Yeah, because
See, look, we have ideas, so KoboldKing should find some too.
I think KoboldKing maybe writes about things that are interesting to KoboldKing.
Yes,
And
so
I
happy
think-
to be- okay,
I think the
happy-
fact that everybody and their brother and their children is writing Save Azrael stories probably means that he is happy to explore other themes besides Save Azrael,
listen.
which, by the way, is not part of this story.
Oh,
I don't know if I made that clear.
You didn't
Yeah,
at
but
all.
I'm excited for the sequel.
All right, so you could write your own.
But wait.
So here you go. You write your own story with Save Azrael, and you gift it to KoboldKing, and say,
And he will be so happy he
that-
will write his own.
Yeah.
And then you steal yours back.
Like ungift it to him once he
Yeah.
writes
I
his
don't
own.
think
Yeah.
that's a thing. How do you ungift a story? Ha ha!
You
You
go-
enjoyed this story, but now I'm removing the enjoyment.
Daddy, you go and
that you
edit it,
had.
and you say this work is not gifted to somebody, and then
Wow.
it's not gifted.
No, Daniel took away his
Why
story.
is that even part of this plan?
It's not. You're not letting me speak.
All right,
That
please
doesn't
speak.
have to be part of the
Okay.
plan.
All right, yes, let's hear the plan.
Okay, there are several plans, but
Okay,
either.
good.
Hey,
Let's
I
hear-
have multiple
All right,
ideas.
yeah, sure, we've got plenty of time. Got nothing
right.
but time here.
So he could write a story that
Oh,
is
but he is-
focused on Kara and Frisk.
Nobody's listening to this recording, by the way.
I am.
Rats.
No, you're not. You're speaking in it.
Oh, fine, whatever.
Okay, well, to nobody who's listening, I believe you should write a story that's mostly focused on Kara and Frisk, but it involves something with Flowey or Azrael, and it could still be like exploring Kara and Frisk in one body, and they're talking to each other and their relationships, but have Azrael be a part of the story. Like in the story, it doesn't have to be all
Like
about
we
it.
go
We
back
can
up to Mount
still-
Evan or something.
Hmm.
The other idea is somebody else write a story in this universe
Okay, yes,
with
sure.
Kara and Frisk, and like in this universe with all this, and have them save Azrael and then gift it to him, and if he likes it enough, he'll make it canon.
Sure. I like
the first idea better.
So Frisk plus Kara are walking around. Suddenly someone arrives in the story with a gift. Surprise, here's your gift. They open it up. It's Azrael.
Wow,
And then,
that'd be the best gift.
Yeah, so like it's a literal gift within a gifted story.
Do that.
All right. Wait a minute. What are you telling me for? I believe you have an Archive of Our Own account and the ability to publish stories. And so does the other you over there.
It's probably not the best idea for me to start more stories right now.
You have like 2,000 stories going
Yeah.
on. I
Besides, writing a fanfic of a fanfic is that's just
Hard.
crazy talk.
Or is it?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you for those great ideas.
Stop listening to these recordings. If we keep saying
Catherine, with your plan, KoboldKing would have to agree
I think
to
you might have hit on something there.
rats.
Catherine, in your plan, you'd
He's
have
going to send you the same
KoboldKing.
meme except twice as big.
Just watch him actually do that.
KoboldKing would have to agree to have another story in his universe.
Why does KoboldKing need to agree to anything?
Well, he might not want people just
Emily,
randomly
how
writing
about
about
this?
stories in his universe.
Emily,
Oh.
can I
That makes
predict
sense.
something for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
If KoboldKing made a story about saving Azrael, then you just be like, save Kara, save Kara, save Kara, save Kara. I don't care that you wrote Save Azrael's story anymore.
Well, I believe Kara would be
You know,
in that story.
maybe what you might get more than you bargained for.
Yeah.
You might get like a swap your choice Save Azrael story where
No.
Azrael
I mean-
appears and someone's, oh, yeah, so this is what'll
Azrael's
happen.
actually like Sans
Okay,
or
here's what's
something.
going to happen. This is the way KoboldKing's going to write it.
Don't do this, KoboldKing.
Okay, yes.
What?
The following is going to
Do
happen.
not do
Azrael will be saved and reincarnated in some way
Oh, great.
and will come down the mountain all happy and chipper, and there at the bottom of the mountain will be a group of villagers. And
Hold up.
someone will scream
Stop now.
and point
Stop
at him,
saying this
and they will
now.
point guns at him, and that is where the story will end. That is my interpretation.
Somehow I doubt KoboldKing would do that.
You're forgetting swap your choice exists.
Okay, fine, but it's Azrael.
It is Azrael. Yes.
And
Okay,
Azrael-
even if he doesn't want to save Azrael,
You're
he shouldn't murder Azrael.
You're as bad as Emily now. You don't even care.
I'm not talking about my own.
No,
Look,
but like-
hey, I have written. Look, you've read my stories.
Yeah.
You know what I write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just telling you I'm just telling you, if you want to save Asriel's story, you might get something
Yeah,
that will
you'd
leave you
never read that
traumatized.
to us.
I will not. I will
It'll
leave
take a lot to get
kudos on that.
You
What?
never
I will
read it
leave
to us.
unkudos on that.
Unkudos? Yes, okay.
He'll have negative 1 kudos.
All right.
You can write a bad one. Look, just put Asriel or Flowey somewhere in the story. How about that?
Just make Asriel exist, and then it's because redacted.
The story
randomly
story
mention
is
Asriel.
finished.
Just put
It's
epilogue
too late to-
Asriel, and then just like that's good enough.
Just the word
Yeah.
Asriel is a concept.
Oh wow.
Asriel wept Kara in bitter tears. The end.
What?
There you go. Is that what you want?
No, unless
All right.
a furry paw lands on her, and she turns around, and her face lights up.
Because
And it's
there's
not
a bunch of-
I thought you said her face slides off. Wow. I figured it out. To be honest, I did figure it out. That story terrified me. Yikes. All right.
Yeah, Catherine,
All right.
but it's not post-pacifist route. Catherine, it's
Look,
not
I need a moment
post-pacifist.
That is not post. Well, it is post-pacifist, but it is
No,
it is a restarting of terror.
no, it's an epilogue of it. No.
Okay, face lights up is what you said. I do believe.
Deal with you. If you make the Asriel story where the villagers attack, and then that's the end of the story, I'm making a story where Kara and Frisk's face slides.
I don't think KoboldKing will be overly upset.
Gifting it to him.
In fact, oh yes, it reminds me. Yeah, you gift that to him. You do that.
Wait, no.
I don't think it's going to traumatize
No, I
him.
will not do that. If he doesn't
Well,
It does remind. Wait a minute. I was going to say it reminded me of a comment, but now I've forgotten it again.
that's sad.
Oh man, what was it? All right, keep talking. I'll remember what it
I'm saying
was.
the epilogue.
What was it?
Asriel
I don't-
cries Kara, weeping bitter tears. Suddenly, a small furry paw landed on her.
Yeah, but it's not
And she
post.
turns around, and her
That's not
face lights up.
I hope the paw was attached to something, and not just a furry paw landing, having been chucked over by somebody across the
A
room.
young furry goat monster in a green and yellow striped shirt grinning at her.
And his name was Asriel.
But
Okay.
this isn't
All right, good.
post-pacifist.
This is sounding better. This is sounding
But
better.
it's not post-pacifist.
Anyway, I remembered my
Any random
comment.
story.
Yeah.
I remembered that
It
KoboldKing was listening to you as I
Oh dear.
as I joked that the story had ended after chapter 1, and you blurted out that you hated this author,
Okay.
which you did, by the way. I hope you feel bad about that.
Hey, if he ended it with
You wouldn't have read it.
just like
silent.
Yeah.
if he ended it with that would be
You wouldn't have
So
read
his
it.
comment was that he found that very darkly humorous. Would be a great just to end the story right there at chapter 1.
that's not.
So I think you gave him a great idea, and yeah, your handiwork may
think
show up in future
I
stories.
might be rethinking the asking him to write a Save Asriel story.
That's
We
what
may-
I'm saying.
We
I'm
may
just
have to
saying,
send
watch
a
out
bunch
what
of,
you
like,
ask for.
feedback forms that say please add an unkudos button to
Oh,
this
yeah.
one story.
Okay.
Listen to these recordings and you keep saying stuff like that.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this chapter, which featured Sans.
We did.
Sans the skeleton as the only other character.
Yeah, that guy.
Yes, that was a good story.
Who took his fishing pole?
I don't think anybody took
It
it.
was Asriel.
I'm so sorry.
Me too.
Okay,
You're gonna hate us.
we've hit the bottom.